For this activity, you'll need 2 different colors, a ruler, eraser, paper, and a pencil. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle in the center of our paper. So when I'm drawing a circle, I like to turn my paper and not necessarily move my hand too much. I just have some wrist action happening. And as I turn my wrist, I'm rotating my paper until I finish up my circle. Now when I'm done with my circle, I kind of check it out and see if there's anything I'm unhappy with. I think I could fix this down here. So that's kind of a trick that I use. I don't start all the way over. I don't erase my entire circle. I just fix what I'm unhappy with. And I'm pretty happy with that circle. So when I'm done with my circle, I'm going to do a horizontal line right down the center. And then I'm going to do a vertical line that's straight up and down. And again, it's splitting my circle in half. Okay, so now I'm done with my straight lines for now, and I'm going to do some curved lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by doing a curved line that's kind of like a parenthesis type shape from the top to the bottom, and I'm going to split this half in half with that curved line. So I did one on this side, and I'm going to do one on this side. Same thing, it's going to be very similar to a parenthesis. And you can see that I'm stopping and ending in the same place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line in between half and that line that I drew. And again, it's going to be curved. You might notice again, I'm using that wrist action. And then again from the top to the bottom to divide my last line to the end of my circle. And I'm trying to end and start in the same place. So again, I'm going to split the center in between that and my first line over here with a curved line. And my last line with the edge of my circle. When I'm done with that, I'm going to turn my circle and I'm going to do the exact same thing again. So I'm going to do my first curved line that's going to split my half with the edge. Same thing on this side. And then I'm going to do a second line in between my half and my first line. And I'm going to split my last line with the edge. Same thing, starting and ending with the same place. Same thing on these sides. And you could already see it's giving that illusion just with those curved repetitive lines. So with OpArt, part of the optical illusion is just using repetition of lines and shapes. So I have repetition with my lines and my shapes. I have repetition with this pattern that they're getting smaller and smaller. And now I'm ready for the back. So for the back of this, I'm just going to use some straight lines. I'm not going to measure. I am just going to use the edge of my ruler, line up with the edge of my paper, and start doing first some horizontal lines. Now when I run into my circle, I'm not going to go right over top of my circle. I'm going to run into it and then skip to the other side and keep going. So I'm going to go all the way down with these lines. And again, I'm not measuring. I'm just going to use my ruler to help me get even lines. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to turn my ruler the other way and I'm going to do vertical lines in the same way, make a checkerboard pattern in my background. All right. Now that I am done with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my background and I'm just going to do a checkerboard pattern. So meaning I'm going to just alternate coloring with my black to start with. So I'm coloring my first square in with my black. And then the next one I'm going to skip it and do the next line. And I'm going to keep on going until I'm done with this first row. So now I'm ready for my second row. I got my first row done. So I'm not going to do the same one right under it. I'm going to skip that one and do the alternate square. And so you might notice I'm tracing around the outside of my square first, and that's just going to help me keep my coloring nice and neat. So now I'm just doing the opposite. So underneath the white one, that's where I'm going to do my black one. And I'm just going to go ahead and go around the entire outside of my sphere. Sphere is just a three-dimensional circle, and I'm going to keep going until the background is all the way. So now you can see I'm done with all of my black in the background, so I'm just going to come back in with my second color, which for me is pink. just make sure you choose a color that has contrast. You don't want a color that's very similar to that first color that you chose. So that's the reason that I chose this pink color. I knew it would be really light compared to that really nice dark black that I chose. So go ahead and color in the rest of your background using your second color, but again, make sure that you choose a color that has some contrast to it. You don't really want a very similar color for the second color that you choose. Alright, so I have my background done. I'm ready for my sphere. This is actually going to be the same thing, except they're smaller pieces, so we have to be careful. But we're just going to go alternating, and again, I like to do just one row at a time. Makes it a little bit easier. If you prefer, you could definitely be using like markers or colored pencils if you're finding that your sphere is just really difficult to get that all colored in. But you can see I'm just going through and I'm using my first color, my pink, and I'm just coloring in every other. So go ahead and color in every other of your sphere. So I have all of my pink done, and now I'll just go in with my second color, my black, and finish up that pattern. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish him up. So we have it all done colored, but we're going to add just a little bit of a shadow to add to our illusion just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace around only half of this. Pretty dark. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a curved line that starts at the top and goes around my sphere. So you can kind of see there's a curved line that goes all the way around. And I'm going to color that in pretty dark. That's going to be a pretty dark shadow. And then I'm going to add a little bit more outside of that darker shadow, but look, it's a little bit lighter. I did it really dark when it was close, and now I'm extending how big that curve was, and I'm using it lighter and lighter. So I'm just adding some additional crayon, but it's not as dark as it was very close. And there you have it. We have an optical illusion. It looks like we have a three-dimensional sphere and a shadow happening using line, repetition, and value.